Tom was a poor cowboy who lived on the edge of a small dusty town called Redfield. His life had always been full of hard work. Every day, he woke up early in the morning when the sun was just rising. He put on his old hat, took his worn boots, and went out to fix fences, mend broken tools, and feed the few animals he owned. His clothes were patched, and his hands were rough and calloused, but Tom did not complain. He believed that work, even if hard, was better than giving up. Despite his hard work, Tom always struggled to have enough money to buy food or supplies. The town market was small, and prices were high. Sometimes, he went without a proper meal. At night, he would sit outside his small wooden cabin, looking at the stars, and wonder if life would ever change. He dreamed of a better life, a place where he could have a proper home, grow food, and maybe even own a few animals. But those were only dreams, far away from reality. One evening, as the sun was setting and the sky turned shades of pink and orange, Tom walked past the town saloon. The sound of laughter, music, and cards being shuffled filled the air. He stopped for a moment and listened. Inside, a few men were playing a card game. The pot was big, and the men were talking loudly about how no one could win that game. Tom watched from the doorway, curious but cautious. He knew he did not have much, only a few coins he had saved from his small chores. Normally, he would have turned away, but something inside him told him to try. He had always believed that luck sometimes found the brave. With a deep breath, he walked inside the saloon. The smell of smoke, dust, and old wood made him cough, but he did not care. The men looked at him with surprise. A poor cowboy wanting to play? They laughed quietly, thinking he did not know the rules. "Can I join?" Tom asked politely, trying not to shake with nervousness. The men exchanged looks. One of them, a tall man with a thick mustache, said, "Sure, but don't waste our time. You only have a few coins." Tom smiled. "That is all I have," he said. The game began. Cards were dealt, and Tom watched carefully. He remembered the little tricks he had learned from observing other players in the town. He was careful, patient, and smart. Round after round, he played with courage. Sometimes, he would take small risks, and other times, he would fold, waiting for the right moment. The other men could not believe their eyes. Hand after hand, Tom was winning. First, he won small amounts of coins. Then, he won a few horses from other players. His luck was surprising, and the room grew quiet. The men whispered to each other. How could a poor cowboy with almost no experience be winning so much? Tom did not say anything. He only focused on the game, thinking carefully with each card. Hours passed, and the moon rose high in the sky. Tom had won almost everything in the pot. By the end of the night, he had not only won coins and horses but 8 donkeys. The donkeys were strong and healthy, and their eyes shone in the dim light of the saloon. The men were shocked and could not believe what had happened. Some of them stared in silence, while others shook their heads in disbelief. Tom quietly counted his winnings, his heart beating fast with excitement. As he left the saloon, the townspeople had gathered outside. Word had spread quickly. A poor cowboy had won 8 donkeys in a single night. Children ran after him, laughing and pointing. The men who had lost stared angrily, but they could not hide their admiration for Tom's luck and courage. Tom smiled as he led the donkeys down the main street. He did not feel proud of the win itself. Instead, he felt hopeful. These donkeys were not just animals. They were a chance. A chance to change his life, a chance to make his dream real. As he walked, he thought carefully. Selling them one by one would bring money, but it would not help him much. He needed a bigger plan, a plan that would give him a new beginning. When Tom reached the edge of town, he stopped and looked at the horizon. The sky was clear, and the stars sparkled like diamonds. He thought about the life he wanted, a small ranch, fields of vegetables, a cozy home, and enough animals to help him with work. He imagined a place where he could invite neighbors, help others, and live without worry. That night, under the quiet sky, Tom made a promise to himself. He would not waste this opportunity. He would turn these donkeys into the start of something bigger. He walked slowly, the donkeys following him obediently. Each donkey seemed to sense the importance of the moment. Tom gave them small pats on the head, whispering words of encouragement. "We are going to do great things together," he said. For the first time in many years, he felt hope shining brightly in his heart. By the time he reached his small cabin, Tom had decided that he would not stay in Redfield forever. He needed a place to start fresh, a place where he could build his dream. The donkeys could help him travel, carry supplies, and even trade for what he needed. Tom's mind was full of ideas, but he was careful to plan each step. Luck had brought him the donkeys, but determination and hard work would turn this luck into success. That night, Tom did not sleep. He sat outside, counting the donkeys and thinking of his plan. He watched the fireflies dance in the fields and listened to the gentle sounds of the night. He knew that tomorrow would be the first day of a new adventure. A poor cowboy had won 8 donkeys at a card game, but the real journey was just beginning. Tom's heart was filled with excitement and courage. The wind blew softly through the trees, and the stars shone as if they were cheering him on. He whispered to himself, "This is my chance. I will not fail." And so, with 8 donkeys, a brave heart, and a secret plan in mind, Tom prepared for the greatest adventure of his life. The next morning, Tom woke up early. The sun was just rising, and its golden light spread across the fields outside his small cabin. The 8 donkeys were standing quietly nearby, waiting for him. Tom had thought long into the night about what to do next. Winning the donkeys had been luck, but now he needed a plan. Tom knew he could sell the donkeys to earn some money, but that would only solve small problems. He wanted something bigger, something that could change his life forever. He had always dreamed of owning a small ranch where he could grow food, raise animals, and live a peaceful life. He imagined a place where neighbors could come to visit, where children could play safely, and where he could share the fruits of his hard work. As he fed the donkeys, Tom looked around his small cabin and the empty land near it. It was not much, but it gave him ideas. He could use the donkeys to carry supplies, plow fields, and even trade for seeds, tools, or other animals. Tom's mind worked quickly. He began making a list of everything he would need to start a ranch. He wrote down simple things first: a safe place for the animals, water for the fields, and seeds for vegetables. Then, he added bigger goals: a barn, a fence, and a small home for himself. While thinking, Tom noticed smoke rising from the town. He knew people would be talking about his big win at the card game. Some would admire him, but others would be jealous. Tom smiled to himself. He did not care about their opinions. This was his life, and he wanted to build something meaningful. He decided that the best way to avoid problems was to leave the town for a while. He would take the donkeys and find a quiet place in the hills outside Redfield. After breakfast, Tom began preparing for the journey. He tied small packs to the donkeys with ropes. In the packs, he placed essential supplies: a few blankets, some dried food, water, and tools. Each donkey carried something. They moved carefully, following Tom as he led them down the dusty trail that led out of town. On the way, Tom met Mia, a kind girl who lived by the river. Mia sold fruits and vegetables, and she was known for helping anyone in need. She saw the donkeys and smiled. "Tom, what are you doing with all these animals?" she asked, curiosity in her eyes. Tom explained his idea. "I want to start a ranch in the hills. I will grow food, keep animals, and maybe even help others who need a place to stay. These donkeys will help me carry supplies and make the work easier." Mia's eyes widened with excitement. "That sounds wonderful. I have always wanted to help someone start a farm. Can I come with you?" Tom thought for a moment. He knew having help would make the work faster and more enjoyable. "Yes, Mia. I would be glad to have you with me," he said. Together, they led the donkeys through the hills. The journey was not easy. The sun was hot, and the trail was sometimes rocky. But Tom and Mia encouraged each other, and the donkeys moved steadily, carrying their supplies. Along the way, they discovered beautiful spots: clear streams, shady trees, and fields that could be turned into farmland. After several hours, they reached a small valley with a clear stream running through it. The place was quiet and full of life. Birds sang in the trees, and the grass was green. Tom looked around with excitement. "This is perfect," he said. "We can build the ranch here." Mia smiled and began unpacking some of the supplies. "We can start planting vegetables near the stream. There is enough water for the fields and the animals." Tom nodded. He knew that water was the most important part of any farm, and this valley had plenty. They began by setting up a small shelter for the donkeys. Tom tied each animal securely and gave them fresh water. The donkeys seemed happy in the new place. They walked around the valley, exploring and making soft noises. Tom laughed. "I think they like it here," he said. The next days were busy. Tom and Mia worked hard from sunrise to sunset. They cleared small areas of land to plant vegetables. They carried water from the stream using the donkeys. Each day, they moved closer to turning the valley into a proper ranch. Tom built simple fences to protect the land from wild animals. Mia planted seeds for carrots, potatoes, and beans. She also started a small garden with fruits like strawberries and apples. Every evening, Tom and Mia sat by the stream, tired but happy. They shared stories about their childhood and their dreams for the future. Tom realized that having a friend who believed in his plan made him even more determined. He no longer felt alone in his journey. Word of Tom's adventure began to spread back in Redfield. Some villagers were surprised and curious. They came to see the ranch from a distance. They were amazed at how quickly Tom had started building something new. Many of them began to respect his courage and determination. Tom understood that the journey would be long and not always easy. There would be challenges, storms, broken tools, and days when the work felt impossible. But he also knew that with patience, hard work, and the help of Mia and the donkeys, he could overcome any obstacle. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned shades of orange and pink, Tom sat on a small hill overlooking the valley. He watched the donkeys resting near the stream. Mia was collecting water for the garden. Everything was quiet and peaceful. Tom felt a sense of pride. He had turned a lucky card game win into the first step toward a dream that had once seemed impossible. He whispered to himself, "This is just the beginning. One day, this place will be a home for many, not just for me." The thought made him smile. He knew that every small action mattered, from planting seeds to building fences. Each step brought him closer to the future he wanted. That night, under the stars, Tom made another promise. He would protect the valley, care for the donkeys, and work hard every day. Luck had given him an opportunity, but his determination and planning would make that luck last. The donkeys, loyal and strong, were more than animals. They were partners in a journey toward a new life. And so, with a secret plan in mind, Tom and Mia prepared for the days ahead. They had food, water, and supplies. They had hope, courage, and the will to build something meaningful. The poor cowboy who had won 8 donkeys in a card game was no longer just lucky. He was ready to create his own future. The sun rose slowly over the valley, casting golden light on the small stream that flowed through the land. Tom woke early, as always, and checked on the donkeys. Each one was healthy and strong, munching on the fresh grass. He smiled, knowing that these animals were not only his companions but also a key part of his plan. Mia was already awake, tending to the small garden they had started. The seeds of carrots, beans, and potatoes were just beginning to sprout. The sight made Tom feel a strong sense of hope. Together, they had turned a quiet, empty valley into the first steps of a future that was slowly coming to life. Tom knew that the valley had more potential. He could see wide spaces where crops could grow, a small hill that could be turned into pasture for animals, and open land that could be fenced for security. But there was more to do. He wanted to make the ranch bigger and safer before winter came. They needed more supplies, more seeds, and tools that would make their work easier. After breakfast, Tom and Mia decided to explore the surrounding hills. The trail was rocky and uneven, but the donkeys were steady and careful. Each carried a small pack of supplies. Tom led the way, holding a rope tied to one of the donkeys, while Mia followed, humming a soft tune. Birds sang in the trees, and a gentle wind moved through the grass. The valley was quiet and peaceful, but Tom knew that the hills held both challenges and opportunities. As they walked, Tom spotted a small cave hidden behind a cluster of rocks. "This could be useful," he said. "If there is a storm or heavy rain, we could store supplies here. It is safe and dry." Mia nodded, impressed. Together, they cleaned the cave and arranged it to hold tools, blankets, and extra food. The donkeys watched curiously, sniffing around the rocks. Further up the trail, they discovered another stream. Its water was cold and clear. Tom examined it carefully. "If we can divert some of this water, it could help irrigate our crops. We could plant more vegetables and even create a small pond for animals," he said. Mia agreed, and they made a plan to carry buckets of water back to the valley. The work was hard, but both of them knew it would make a big difference in the long run. Along the way, they met a few villagers who were traveling through the hills. One of them, an older man named Henry, stopped to greet Tom. "I hear you have won 8 donkeys and are starting a ranch," Henry said with a smile. "That is brave of you, young man. It is not easy to take a chance on a new life." Tom thanked him. "I want to make a place where I can work hard and help others," he said. Henry nodded, impressed. "If you need advice or tools, come to me. I have some supplies that may be useful." Encouraged by the support, Tom and Mia continued their exploration. They discovered a small hill with fertile soil. "This is perfect for crops," Tom said. "We can plant vegetables here that will grow well in the sunlight. It is also safe from wild animals because it is high and open." Mia suggested building a small fence around the hill to protect the crops. Tom agreed. They spent the afternoon collecting wood and rocks, using the donkeys to carry the materials. By evening, they had a small fence built, enough to protect the young plants. The donkeys rested nearby, chewing grass and enjoying the cool shade of trees. That night, Tom and Mia sat near the stream, tired but happy. They shared a simple meal of bread, vegetables, and water. The stars shone brightly above the hills, reflecting in the calm water. Tom looked at the donkeys resting peacefully. Each one had a role to play, and he felt grateful for their loyalty. "I never imagined my life could change so quickly," Tom said. "One night at a card game, and now we have a valley, donkeys, and a plan. It feels like a dream." Mia smiled. "It is not just luck, Tom. It is your courage and determination. You believed in yourself, and that is why it is happening." The next day, they continued their work. They began clearing small areas for new crops, moving rocks, and removing dry grass. The donkeys helped carry the heavy loads, and sometimes they played in the fields, running around and making soft noises that made Tom and Mia laugh. Tom also made a careful map of the valley and the surrounding hills. He marked where the streams were, where the fertile soil was, and where they could build more fences and shelters. Planning was important, and he wanted to make sure nothing was wasted. He knew that hard work alone was not enough. Preparation and thought were just as necessary. During their exploration, Tom noticed a small group of wild rabbits near a bush. He smiled and told Mia that they could build small traps to catch some for food, but only enough to survive. They wanted to be careful not to disturb nature too much. This way, the valley could remain balanced, with both animals and humans living together peacefully. As days passed, Tom and Mia grew stronger. The work was tiring, but the valley slowly changed. Small patches of vegetables grew, the fences held, and the donkeys were becoming more obedient and helpful. Tom often talked to the animals, giving each donkey a name and praising them for their hard work. He treated them not just as workers but as friends. One evening, as the sun began to set, Tom looked at the horizon and saw the town of Redfield in the distance. It looked small and quiet from the hills. He remembered the night he won the donkeys at the card game. It felt like a long time ago, yet it had only been a few weeks. He realized that a single lucky event could change a life, but it was the courage to act and the willingness to work hard that made the real difference. Mia joined him on the hill, holding a basket of freshly picked vegetables. "We have done a lot in such a short time," she said. "Imagine what we can do in a few months." Tom nodded. "Yes. We have started something important. The valley will grow, and one day it will be a home for more than just us." That night, as they slept under the stars, the donkeys rested nearby. The wind whispered through the hills, carrying the sounds of the valley, water flowing, birds singing, and the gentle rustle of grass. Tom felt peace for the first time in his life. He knew that challenges lay ahead, but he also knew that with Mia's help, the donkeys, and his determination, he could face anything. The poor cowboy who had won 8 donkeys in a single night was no longer just lucky. He was building a life, a future filled with hope, work, and friendship. The journey to the hills had only just begun, and every step brought him closer to the dream he had always imagined. The sun rose early over the valley, filling the sky with soft golden light. Tom and Mia were already awake, ready to begin another busy day. The donkeys stretched and shook themselves, eager to help. The valley was slowly transforming into a ranch, but there was still much to do. Tom knew that building a strong and safe place for animals, crops, and people required patience, effort, and careful planning. Tom began the day by inspecting the small fences they had built around the crops. Some sections had weakened, and a few posts had started to lean. He worked carefully, digging holes and securing the posts with ropes and nails. The donkeys carried heavy bundles of wood and rocks from the nearby hill, their strength making the work much easier. Tom gave each donkey gentle pats and whispered encouragements, treating them as loyal friends rather than just animals. Mia worked on the vegetable garden, watering the plants and checking for weeds. The seeds they had planted weeks ago were starting to grow, and small green shoots peeked from the soil. She smiled, feeling proud of the work they had done. "Look, Tom," she said, holding a small bundle of young plants. "They are growing well. Soon, we will have enough food for ourselves and maybe even to share with others." Tom nodded, feeling hopeful. "Yes, Mia. We are creating something important. These donkeys, the land, and our hard work will give us a life we have always dreamed of." After finishing the fence repairs, Tom and Mia decided it was time to build a small barn. The barn would give shelter to the donkeys and protect supplies from rain and wind. They measured the ground carefully and began placing strong wooden beams. The donkeys helped carry planks, rope, and nails, and even seemed to enjoy being part of the construction. Tom and Mia worked together, lifting heavy pieces of wood and fitting them into place. The barn slowly took shape. By mid-afternoon, the walls were standing, and the roof was nearly finished. The donkeys rested in the shade, watching with soft eyes as their new home appeared. Tom stepped back to admire their work. "It is not perfect, but it is strong," he said. "It will keep us and the animals safe, and we can make it even better with time." After finishing the barn, Tom and Mia turned their attention to the garden and fields. They wanted to plant more crops and make sure the soil was healthy. Tom dug small trenches to water the plants, and Mia helped scatter seeds evenly. They talked about what they wanted to grow next: corn, tomatoes, and even some herbs. The valley was slowly filling with life, and every small plant felt like a victory. During the next few days, they continued to improve the ranch. They built a small wooden bridge over the stream, making it easier to carry water and supplies from one side to the other. They cleared rocks and dry grass from the fields, making space for more crops. The donkeys worked steadily, carrying loads that would have been impossible for just one person. Tom often laughed, amazed at how helpful the animals had become. Mia began collecting wildflowers and placing them around the garden. She wanted the ranch to be not just useful but beautiful as well. Tom agreed, realizing that a place filled with beauty and life would be welcoming for anyone who visited. He wanted the valley to be a home, a place of happiness and work, not just survival. One afternoon, a group of villagers came to visit. They had heard about Tom's ranch and were curious to see it with their own eyes. Some were surprised to see how much had been accomplished in such a short time. The barn, the fences, and the growing crops were impressive. The villagers smiled and praised Tom and Mia for their courage and hard work. Tom welcomed them warmly. "This is only the beginning," he said. We are building a place for work, life, and hope. One day, this valley will be more than just a farm. It will be a home for everyone who needs help. The villagers were inspired. Some offered tools, seeds, and advice. Others helped for a few hours, lifting heavy planks or carrying water. Tom realized that kindness and teamwork could make even the hardest work easier. The ranch was not just about him or Mia. It was about creating something that others could be proud of too. As weeks passed, the ranch continued to grow. The donkeys learned new tasks, like pulling small carts and carrying water. Tom trained them patiently, praising them when they succeeded and correcting gently when they made mistakes. The animals seemed happy and healthy, and their loyalty strengthened every day. Mia focused on planting more vegetables and fruits. She created rows of potatoes, beans, carrots, and even strawberries. The soil was rich, and with the constant water from the streams, the crops grew faster than expected. Mia was proud of their progress and shared her joy with Tom each evening. Tom also began building a small house near the barn. It was simple but sturdy, with a roof to keep out the rain and a chimney for warmth. He wanted a place where he and Mia could rest comfortably after long days of work. The donkeys watched curiously as the walls went up, occasionally nudging pieces of wood with their noses. Tom laughed, enjoying the playful moments amidst hard work. By the end of the month, the ranch was taking shape. The barn was complete, the fences were strong, the fields were growing with crops, and the house was standing firm. Tom and Mia could finally see the results of their effort. Every corner of the valley reflected their determination and teamwork. One evening, Tom and Mia sat on the hill overlooking the valley. The sun set in colors of orange and pink, casting shadows over the growing fields. The donkeys rested near the barn, eating fresh grass. Tom felt a deep sense of pride and hope. "We have done so much," he said. "But this is only the beginning. The ranch will continue to grow, and one day it will be a home for many." Mia smiled, holding a basket of fresh vegetables. "Yes, Tom. We have started something wonderful. With hard work, patience, and the help of our friends, this place will be amazing." Tom nodded, looking at the valley below. He remembered the night he had won the donkeys in the card game. It seemed like a long time ago, but that lucky night had changed everything. He realized that luck alone was not enough. It was courage, planning, hard work, and friendship that had turned a simple win into the foundation of a dream. The ranch was no longer just a dream. It was real, alive, and growing. Tom and Mia felt proud, but they also knew there was more to do. Every day brought new challenges, new lessons, and new opportunities. And with each passing day, the poor cowboy who had once struggled to survive was becoming a strong, confident farmer with a future full of hope. That night, under a sky filled with stars, Tom whispered softly to the donkeys, "Thank you, my friends. Together, we are building something special." The donkeys nuzzled him gently, as if understanding every word. Tom and Mia sat quietly, watching the night settle over the valley, feeling the peace of a place they had created with their own hands. The sun rose slowly over the valley, filling it with warm light. Tom woke early as always and went to check on the donkeys. Each one was resting near the barn, their coats shining in the morning sun. Tom smiled. These animals were no longer just his companions, they were his friends and helpers. With their strength and loyalty, the ranch had begun to thrive. Mia was already tending to the garden. The crops had grown taller and stronger since they were first planted. Rows of carrots, potatoes, beans, and strawberries stretched across the fields. She was watering the plants carefully, making sure the roots received enough moisture from the stream. When she saw Tom approaching, she waved. "Good morning, Tom. The plants look healthy today," she said with a smile. Tom nodded. "Yes, Mia. They are growing fast. Our hard work is paying off." He paused for a moment, looking around the valley. The fences were strong, the barn stood tall, and the small house was finished. The ranch had become a home, not only for them but also for the animals and anyone who needed help. After breakfast, Tom and Mia decided to explore the valley further. They wanted to make sure they used the land wisely and planted crops in the most fertile areas. The donkeys followed eagerly, carrying small packs of tools, seeds, and water. Tom led the way, pointing out spots that could be cleared for more crops or used for animal pastures. Mia took notes and planned where each new plant would grow. While walking, they spotted a small family of rabbits near the edge of the forest. Tom smiled. "We must be careful with nature," he said. "We can live here and grow our crops without harming the animals." Mia agreed. The valley was beginning to feel like a balanced home where both humans and animals could thrive. As the day went on, villagers began to visit the ranch. They were curious to see how a poor cowboy had transformed a quiet valley into a thriving farm. Some brought tools, seeds, and advice. Others came to help carry supplies, plant crops, or repair fences. Tom welcomed them warmly, proud of what they had accomplished together. "You have done something remarkable, Tom," said Henry, the older man from town. "It is not easy to build a farm from nothing, but you have turned this valley into a home for life and hope." Tom thanked him, feeling proud but humble. He knew that the ranch would not have been possible without hard work, determination, and the help of Mia and the donkeys. By mid-afternoon, Tom and Mia returned to the barn to check on the donkeys. They were calm and healthy, resting in the shade. Tom gently patted each one. "You have helped us more than you know," he said softly. The donkeys nuzzled him, as if understanding his words. Tom realized that true success was not only about crops or buildings. It was about the bonds formed along the way, with people, animals, and the land itself. That evening, after a long day of work, Tom and Mia sat on the hill overlooking the valley. The sun was setting in brilliant shades of orange and pink. The fields glowed in the soft light, and the stream sparkled as it flowed through the valley. Tom took a deep breath, feeling the calm and satisfaction that came from seeing their dream take shape. "We have built something amazing," Mia said. "I never imagined a poor cowboy and a small girl could create a place like this." Tom smiled. "It was never just luck. It was courage, hard work, and teamwork. Every step we took brought us closer to this day." Over the next few weeks, the ranch continued to grow. Tom and Mia planted more crops, expanded the fenced areas for animals, and created small pathways through the fields. They even started a small fruit orchard with apple and pear trees. The donkeys learned new tasks, such as pulling small carts with harvested crops and carrying water from the stream to distant parts of the valley. Word of the ranch spread throughout the nearby towns. Travelers, traders, and even families who needed help came to see Tom's work. Some stayed for a while, helping with planting or repairs. Others returned to share stories of the thriving valley. Tom welcomed everyone, happy to share the fruits of his hard work. One morning, Tom and Mia noticed that a small group of children had arrived, eager to help. They brought laughter and energy to the ranch, running through the fields and feeding the animals under Tom's supervision. Tom watched them carefully, feeling a deep sense of pride. The valley was no longer just a farm. It had become a place of learning, joy, and community. Mia suggested planting a small flower garden near the house. The flowers would attract bees and butterflies, helping pollinate the crops. She wanted the ranch to be not only productive, but also beautiful. Tom agreed and helped her dig the beds and plant the seeds. Soon, colorful flowers blossomed, adding brightness to the valley. As the months passed, the ranch became more organized and self-sufficient. Tom and Mia had built a place that could feed them, provide shelter, and help others. The donkeys were healthy and happy, and the crops were plentiful. Tom often reflected on how far they had come. A few months ago, he had been a poor cowboy with nothing but hope. Now, he had a ranch, loyal friends, and a life filled with purpose. One evening, as the sun set, Tom stood near the barn and looked at the valley. The fields were green, the stream sparkled, and the donkeys rested peacefully. He thought about the night he had won 8 donkeys in a card game. It had seemed like a small event at the time, but it had changed everything. Tom realized that luck could start a journey, but determination, courage, and teamwork were what made dreams real. Mia joined him, holding a basket of ripe vegetables. Tom, "The valley looks beautiful tonight," she said. "We have done something that will last for years." Tom smiled. "Yes, Mia. And it will continue to grow. One day, this valley will be a home for many, not just us." As night fell, the stars appeared in the sky, reflecting on the calm stream. Tom and Mia sat quietly, feeling proud and peaceful. The donkeys rested nearby, and the wind moved gently through the valley. Tom whispered to the animals, "Thank you for being part of this journey. Together, we have created a home filled with life, hope, and friendship." The poor cowboy who had once struggled to survive now had a future full of promise. He had turned luck into action, dreams into reality, and a small valley into a thriving ranch. The journey had been long and hard, but the reward was greater than he had ever imagined. Tom and Mia had built not just a farm but a home, a community, and a place where hope could grow alongside crops and animals. From that night onward, the ranch continued to flourish. Travelers came and went, children played, and the donkeys worked happily. Tom and Mia never stopped dreaming or working, always finding ways to improve the ranch and help others. The lucky win at the card game had been the start, but it was courage, hard work, and friendship that created a lasting future. And so, in the quiet hills outside Redfield, a poor cowboy and a kind girl had built a home full of life, hope, and joy. A place where dreams could grow, where hard work was rewarded, and where the loyalty of animals and friendship of humans created a story worth remembering for generations to come.